Once upon a time, in a quiet little village, nestled like a hidden gem between rolling mountains, lived a young man named Marco. He was 24, and to anyone looking from the outside, his life seemed perfectly fine. He had a roof over his head, a community of friends, and work to keep him busy. But behind this simple exterior, Marco's mind was a battlefield. It was a constant, relentless war with his own thoughts. His mind never, ever stopped. It was a chaotic storm, either pulling him back into the murky waters of past regrets or throwing him into the terrifying waves of future worries. Sleep offered no escape. His nights were restless, filled with tossing and turning. Laughter felt hollow, and a genuine smile was a distant memory. Even the breathtaking beauty of the mountains and the vibrant colors of the village flowers seemed dull and faded to his weary eyes. His heart, his very soul, ached for just a moment of peace, but he had no idea where to even begin looking for it. Then one day, a whisper reached him, carried on the village grapevine. It was a story about a wise old man who lived far away, high up in the hills. They said he was once a great psychologist in the bustling city, a man of renown and success. But he had left it all behind, the fame, the wealth, the noise, to live a simple, quiet life in harmony with nature. The villagers spoke of him with reverence, saying he had a special gift for helping people whose minds were lost in turmoil, helping them find their way back to stillness. For Marco, this wasn't just a story, it was a lifeline. Without a second thought, a spark of hope ignited within him. He packed a small, modest bag with only the essentials and set out on his journey. The path was not easy. He trekked through rugged, rocky trails that tested his strength and navigated dense forest paths where the sunlight struggled to break through the canopy. He was driven by a single, powerful desire: to meet the wise old man and finally quiet the storm inside him. After several long days of walking, he finally arrived at the peaceful hill village. It was a world away from his own restless mind. And there, just as the stories had described, sitting on a porch draped in green vines with birds singing cheerfully around him, was the old man. His eyes were closed, his posture was relaxed, and a gentle, serene smile graced his lips, as if he held the tranquility of the entire universe within his heart. Marco approached with a sense of awe, his footsteps soft on the earthen ground. He bowed respectfully and spoke, his voice barely a whisper, afraid to disturb the profound peace that surrounded the old man. "Grandfather," he began, "my mind is full of noise. It's a constant clamor. I can't stop thinking. I feel so tired, so lost, and so very restless. Please, can you help me find peace?" The old man opened his eyes slowly, and they were as clear and deep as a mountain lake. He smiled, a warm, knowing smile that seemed to understand everything Marco had left unsaid. "So, you seek peace?" he asked, his voice calm and gentle like a flowing stream. Marco nodded eagerly, his heart pounding with a mixture of desperation and hope. "Then come," the old man said, rising gracefully. He led Marco to a small, humble yard behind his house. There, he took a simple glass and filled it with water from a well, right up to the very brim, so full that the surface tension held the last drop in place. He carefully handed the glass to Marco. "Walk from here to the edge of the village and then come back," he instructed. "But remember this one rule. You must not spill even a single drop." Marco was puzzled. He had come all this way seeking profound wisdom, and he was being asked to carry a glass of water. But the earnestness in the old man's eyes told him this was more than a simple task. He agreed, taking the glass with utmost care, his hand steady. He began his walk. The path was anything but smooth. It was uneven, with loose stones and dips in the ground. And the village was alive with distractions. People were chatting loudly in the market square, children were laughing and chasing each other in a game, dogs were barking at passing carts, and vendors were calling out, advertising their wares. Normally, Marco's mind would have latched onto every sound, every movement, creating 100 new worries. But not this time. He didn't look at any of it. His eyes were completely fixed on the shimmering surface of the water in the glass. Every step was deliberate, slow, and measured. His entire being, his entire consciousness, was focused on one single thing: keeping the water perfectly still. The world around him faded into a distant, muffled blur. There was only him, the glass, and the water. After what felt like an eternity, he finally returned to the old man's porch. He held out the glass, a triumphant, relieved smile spreading across his face. Not a single drop had been spilled. "Grandfather, I did it," he said, his voice filled with a sense of accomplishment he hadn't felt in years. The old man nodded, his gentle smile returning. "Very good," he said warmly. "But tell me, on your walk, did you see the children playing by the well? Did you hear the dogs barking near the baker's shop?" Marco's smile faltered. He looked confused, searching his memory. "No," he admitted. "I didn't notice any of that. I was only focused on the glass of water." The old man's smile widened, his eyes twinkling with wisdom. "That, my boy, is peace," he said softly. "When your mind stays completely in the present moment, focused entirely on what is right in front of you, there is no room left for regret about the past, or fear and worry about the future. In that moment of pure focus, your thoughts stop running wild. You become still. You become calm. You become peaceful." Marco stood in complete silence, the glass still in his hand, the old man's words washing over him like a gentle rain. The realization dawned on him, not as a thought, but as a deep, profound feeling in his heart. For the very first time, he understood. Peace wasn't a destination to be reached. It wasn't a treasure hidden in the mountains, or a secret held by a wise man. It was right here, inside him, all along, waiting to be felt whenever he chose to live fully in the present moment. He bowed his head, a gesture of deep respect and gratitude. "Grandfather," he said, his voice filled with a newfound clarity. "Now I understand. If I want peace, I must stop chasing it. I just have to be here, in this moment." The old man's eyes twinkled with delight. "Yes," he affirmed. "When your mind lives in the now, peace follows naturally like a shadow on a sunny day." As the sun began to set, painting the sky in breathtaking shades of gold, pink, and orange, Marco began his journey back home. But this time, something fundamental had changed within him. The wind against his face felt softer. The path beneath his feet seemed brighter. The world around him was vibrant and alive. And for the first time in as long as he could remember, his heart was quiet. He had learned the greatest truth of all. Peace doesn't come from finding silence outside. It comes from cultivating silence within. So, if your mind ever feels restless, if you find yourself lost in the noise of your own thoughts, remember Marco's lesson. Stop running through the corridors of yesterday or frantically trying to predict the maze of tomorrow. Just take a deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs and be here in this very moment. Because peace, true peace, lives only in the now. Thank you so much for joining me for this story. If it resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content to help you find your own inner calm. I'll see you in the next one.